One thing also that I felt like is interesting to talk to you about is prospects, and not necessarily about certain prospects, but the environment for a prospect. I recently talked to Freddie Klemichen. I think you were actually very close to his in the same region as an assistant coach in Lich as he was in
yeah,
Frankfurt.
I remember him well. Yeah.
So Freddie we talked about the environment and the process of how a prospect can flourish, and what do you think is absolutely necessary for a prospect to have? What environment you're trying to create? You have the Orange Campus, which is also probably a very big recruiting tool, but in regards of making the prospects feel at home and make them feel comfortable, what do you think is most important to have them grow and be a successful professional on whatever level in the future?
Responsibility. Like, to me, it's the biggest thing.
Teach them responsibility, or teach them responsibility?
Give them responsibility.
Okay.
Give them responsibility. Now, if you have a 17 or 18-year-old prospect, 8 out of 10 teams in the Bundesliga will have them join in practice, but they're always the first subs. Yeah, like, or they're sitting on the side. If the veteran player needs a break, now they step in. So the net practice time of a prospect usually is less than the net practice time of a veteran. I always flip that around. I felt the veteran, he knows basketball. He doesn't need as much practice as the young player. So I need to put the young player into a responsible environment where he gets repetitions, and he needs to do things that the veteran needs to do on the weekend. So it was unusual for guys like Chris Babb. We're putting the 5-on-5 teams together for a little scrimmage in practice, and he was out first. Per Günther was out first, and they struggled to understand early on. But to me, it was important that David Kramer would get at least the same amount of repetitions in ball screens as Carsten Tada would get. Yeah, so I think this is really important. When they feel I am put in a situation where I can really learn, I can make mistakes, and I'm not just I'm a robot in the corner waiting to see the ball every fourth time. Yeah, I think then they can flourish. And this is one thing I need to watch here in this organization. When I see Anton Gavel doing his job in Pro B, when I see Jaka integrating the young players, like, I need to make sure they are put in a position where they can have responsibility for a good practice and later on for a good game.
That's a very interesting and very challenging approach, I can imagine, especially like you said,
yes.
Like for first-time veterans that to experience that is a very different,
and also frustrating at some point. Yeah, like they say, "Give me the fucking ball." Yeah, like I'll run the pick and roll right here. Yes, but I still want this guy to learn it. How else should he learn? Why put him on my team if I don't put him in this position? Then it's a waste of time.
Yeah, but basically they never practice and never play. So basically you're standing still, and there's that lack of development on either end. So what you're saying is to give more theoretical practices, maybe also more video with veterans. Whereas for prospects or for younger guys, they need more reps, to give more practice time, on floor time, as well as video time.
Yeah, like it's all about the economics of practices. Yeah, like if you, in a perfect world, the veteran gets a lot of repetitions and the young player gets a lot of repetitions, then the practice runs 3-4 hours. You cannot do that. So you need to be smart about it, and you need to find a good balance. Yes, sometimes the veteran also needs repetitions. That's why I would shift away from skill work, player development a little bit during my team practices, and rather do a lot of repetitions in 3-on-3, in 4-on-4, like digest the essence of a certain set play and repeat that over and over, but put those young players into the decision-making process as well. But it's a delicate issue. It's not easy to handle. Also, the veteran players, they want to practice. They get tired when they see the young players make mistakes. And also you need to have room for skill work. So we exclude that from a team practice, do it separately, and there, for example, a veteran doesn't have to do as much as a young player.
Do you prepare when you recruit rather? Do you prepare the veterans for the situation that will come, and in terms of the process, the practice process, the philosophy that's implemented, and or do you just let it happen as it comes and you're just prepared for the reactions?
No, I think it's important that the player knows the situation he's getting into, and he knows the overall approach of the head coach. So I remember clubs would spend a ton of money on players, and there hasn't been one phone call between the player and the coach. To me, that's amazing. Like, first of all, from the perspective of the player, I want to know who I work for. Maybe I cannot relate to him, but also for a club that invests a ton of money, why not have a personal conversation between the two people that have to work so closely together that conflict's gonna arise? So I always try to give a good picture of what the player puts himself into, and also get a good feel for the player I will have to work with. And people who heard a few of my keynotes, they know I call it the beer rule. To me, it was always important. After a talk with a player, I get the impression, if I had to spend a night in a bar, in a restaurant with him, having a few beers, I would feel entertained, and I wouldn't leave the bar saying, well, that was a waste of time. If I have this kind of feel with a player, then I know I can work with him, because I can find solutions when issues arise. I can relate to him on a personal level, and it's not just going to be a daily hassle. Well, I have to see this face again. So I actually never went out with players and had beers with them, but I still like, my beer rule still is very valuable. I need to relate to a player on a personal level. Otherwise, I don't think it will be a constructive work environment.
Don't get me started on communication. Everybody who knows me knows that this is das A und O.
Exactly, the A and O.
The A and O, absolutely. It's a never-ending flow. It's supposed to be open, and you sometimes have to have these talks also to take the mask off. Like we need to take these. We don't. I generally try not to carry a mask, and I never, just being transparent, but also having the feel that you're talking to a human, I think, is important from both perspectives. I mean, there's obviously always one party that may or may take advantage of that, and you have to be ready for that. You have to you make yourself vulnerable for that. But I think the payoff is much bigger if you do so. So I'm generally just an open door policy, and then at some point, like Joe Rogan said, you started with 100 points, and then I'm seeing how many, where are we going from there.